Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this, and welcome to another YouTube video. If you're new here, I'm Georgia and I am a women's online health and fitness coach, and I literally see it as my sole purpose on this planet to help as many women as possible step into their ultimate confidence inside and out. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back for another video. I want to talk about something that comes up with my one-to-one clients literally every single week when we have their check-ins. And that is social events and eating out. Because we are just coming off the back of the late May bank holiday weekend. And when I tell you, I have eaten out so many times this weekend. Past me would have gone into a weekend like this, A, panicking, and B, with the idea of eating out will make me gain weight and or lose all the progress that I have literally worked years to achieve. Current me literally knows that that could not be further from the truth, and that's because I have applied these techniques over time and perfected them over time, and I now also teach them to my one-to-one clients so that they can stay on track and also live their best lives and actually go out and enjoy themselves. So in this video, I want to share 3 things that I think are absolutely essential for you nailing your social events and still staying on track with your goals and ultimately feeling your best as well. As I always say to my one-to-one clients, for me, it's not just about the result, it's also how you feel. So with that being said, let's get into the video and these top 3 tips for nailing your social events. So to give you a summary, over this weekend, I had a dips night on Friday night. I then ate out for lunch because I was teaching on Saturday, so I picked up lunch on the go. I then went to a 40th birthday party, which was catered for on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we celebrated my mum's birthday and got a takeaway. And my boyfriend also surprised me by ordering a takeaway last night as well. So I have eaten very much differently to what I would usually, and I've come out of it with absolutely zero guilt and knowing that I have managed it in the best way possible. So I want to share the tactics that I use for myself and also that I work on with my one-to-one clients in this video. So the first thing that is going to be super important is going into all of these events with a plan of action. So part 1 is going to be your plan of action for how you're going to handle the event. I'm a big believer in planning ahead and making decisions before you go to said meal out, you go for the drinks, you have the takeaway, whatever it is, because we can get so much decision fatigue in the moment that we get overwhelmed and we just default to the pizza, the, 3 courses, the bottle of wine, whatever it is. And if you are someone who is on a weight loss journey or who is wanting to make more informed choices, then we need to do some thinking ahead of time. And there are 2 things that I really want you to think about when you're making those decisions. When it comes to your food, I want you to look at, can I get some protein? And can I get some micronutrients or some fruit or veg? Now, this isn't always going to be possible for every single meal. So for example, the dips night that I hosted on Friday night was very much a beige buffet. We're talking lots of different dips, French bread, crisps, beige buffet, all that kind of thing. So sometimes it's not possible. However, the other meals that I have had, it has been possible to do that. So this is where I have focused my attention. For example, if you're going to a restaurant, could you opt for something that has got chicken or fish in, or go for a steak? Then you also want to be making sure that you're getting something that's got some micronutrients in. So has it got some salad or some veggies as a part of that main course? Alternatively, another good thing that works really well, especially if you are on more of a fat loss journey, is to swap your carbs for some extra veggies. So for example, if you're having a burger, could you swap the chips for a side salad? If you're having a steak, could you swap out your chips for some extra broccoli or something like that? I would also definitely make the decision as to how many courses you're going to have. Again, if you're working with more of a fat loss focus, I would opt for 1 to 2 courses rather than 3 courses. And the second thing that I want you to plan ahead for is your drinks. So I very much stuck to Prosecco across the whole of the weekend because lots of the events that I went to did involve drinking. I'm not a massive drinker anyway, and I'm not someone who really likes to drink cocktails. And I know that Prosecco is a good low-calorie alternative because it naturally comes in a smaller glass. So you're looking at roughly 80 calories per glass, whereas a large glass of wine is going to be a lot more. So this means that you're going into whatever event it is with a clear plan of action. You don't have to worry about overthinking when you see the menu. You don't have to worry about panicking when somebody asks you what you want to order. You've already thought about it ahead of time and you're going in with a clear plan of action. And that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be what you are doing around that event. It's so easy, and this is again a trap that I always used to fall into. I'd be like, oh well, I'm having a cheat meal later on today, so it doesn't really matter what I eat for the rest of the day because I've already ruined it. And that is literally so far from the truth. I want you to be sticking to your normal eating structure around this as much as possible. And again, if you've got more of a fat loss focus, this is an opportunity to maybe have some slightly lighter meals. So for example, if you're going out for dinner, you've chosen what you're going to have for your dinner, how can we make your breakfast and lunch just a little bit lighter to give you some extra wiggle room with your calories for that dinner, which we inevitably know is going to be a little bit higher in calories. For example, if you normally have yogurt, fruit and granola for breakfast, could you just take away the granola or have a slightly smaller quantity? And could you opt for something like a chicken salad or roasted salmon fillet and some roasted veggies for lunch, just to make sure it's a little bit lighter and to give you some extra wiggle room. I also want to make sure that you are actually eating before you go out. Again, this is something that I often used to do. I would literally try and starve myself ahead of a meal out or a takeaway because I thought that that would mean that I wouldn't ruin my progress as much, when in actual fact it would just cause me to overeat even more. If you're depriving yourself and cutting out meals ahead of going out for drinks or a meal out or a takeaway, whatever it is, you are just going to go into that so hungry. And when you are really, really hungry, you're going to think more from an emotional state rather than a rational state. And that means that you are going to overorder and probably overeat. And you're not going to lean into those logical decisions and that plan that you've made ahead of time. So I can't stress enough, I want you to make sure that you are still eating before you go out. If you do have a weekend of lots of social events going on, or you've got a bigger event where you want to enjoy maybe 3 courses, or you want to enjoy some more drinks, you can also look at your week as a whole and you can make a plan of action to balance that out. So what I would suggest is doing something called calorie banking for things like this. So that means bringing your calories down just a little bit by even 50 to 100 calories per day. I'd say max 150 to 200 calories per day, depending on how many calories you're already on, because this does still want to be achievable. This will basically save you some extra calories to then utilize throughout the weekend or on whatever social event it is that you think will require those extra calories. So it means that overall, across the course of the week, you can still be on track with your calories. The third tip that I want to share with you guys is probably the most important one, but equally the hardest to master, and that is the art of mindful eating and being able to pay attention to your cues for hunger and also fullness. A big thing that I see a lot of clients do, and I'm also very guilty of myself, or have been very guilty of myself, is not paying attention to when you are starting to feel full. I do a lot of work with clients to help them understand how to eat more mindfully and what this looks and feels like. Again, this is going to be really important because it values the amount of food that your body needs rather than pushing it too far. So the first thing that's going to help with this is slowing down your eating. Something that I always say to clients is literally just pop your knife and fork down in between each bite. It's something that literally nobody's going to notice, but it makes the world of difference when it comes to slowing down your eating. This means that you're going to chew everything way more thoroughly, so it's better for your digestion. But because there is a delay period from when you literally eat something to when it gets to your stomach to when your stomach tells your brain that it's starting to feel full, it means that we can be more in tune to when you're actually starting to become full, because we've accounted for that delay by slowing down your eating. And the second thing that I always suggest to clients is to mentally check in with yourself maybe 2 to 3 times whilst you are eating, and just ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I feeling? 1 being like absolutely ravenous, I could gnaw my arm off, and 10 being like I am so full, I need to go to sleep right now because I may slip into a food coma. Obviously, we don't want to be getting all the way up to a 10. We want to be sitting at around 7 to 8 out of 10 or 70 to 80% full. And the more you practice this, the more you practice the putting the cutlery down to slow yourself down, the more you practice checking in with yourself, the more it will become second nature. This is just like any other habit that you're building in your health and fitness journey, be it steps, tracking food, going to the gym, sleep, whatever it is. This is exactly the same. And practicing that mindful eating is going to get you so much more in tune with your body and understanding what it feels like to be satisfied by a meal rather than overly full. And this is also going to make a huge difference when it comes to the amount of calories that you're consuming and making sure that that is in alignment with what your body needs rather than overeating. And these 3 things are things that I have practiced across this weekend to stay on track, come out of it still feeling really, really good and with a very, very minimal gain on the scales. My goal right now is to maintain body weight, and that is exactly what I have done across this weekend because of these 3 things. And you can apply this to whether you're on a weight loss journey, a maintenance journey, or you're even looking to build muscle, because it means that you come out of these social events feeling good, without guilt, without feeling sluggish, and ultimately maintaining that momentum that you have built in your fitness journey. So to summarize, point number 1 was obviously making sure that you plan ahead to avoid that decision fatigue in the moment, taking into account what you're going to be eating and what you're going to be drinking and the choices that you'll make when you're out. Tip number 2 is then what you do around that event and making sure you keep your day as normal as possible. Maybe you can have some lighter meals around your meal out if you need to, and you can even look to do some calorie banking if you feel that it would benefit you throughout that week. And finally, tip number 3 is mastering the art of mindful eating and really paying attention to the cues that your body gives you to let you know that you are starting to get full and you're satisfied rather than overeating. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you do want more guidance on things like this, like I said, this is exactly what I do with my one-to-one clients. So I'm going to drop the link below for my one-to-one coaching applications. If we are a good fit to work together, I will reach out to you and then we can go from there, and I will run you through exactly how I work and the next steps. And I'll also pop my Instagram down below, because I honestly post helpful content like this literally every single day, because like I said at the beginning of this video, it is my sole purpose here to help as many people as I can through what I do. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.